Good morning and welcome to the Regional Chamber's annual fall Good Morning Canfield Breakfast Program. I'm Kim Calvert, Vice President of Marketing and Events, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today at this beautiful facility. We've held our programs here before in the Work Center, but never in the bistro, and I think this facility is pretty awesome. And I appreciate all the effort that the cooks and the students have made in serving breakfast this morning, and I hope you're enjoying everything. And we do well deserved. It was interesting watching their dynamic when we got here this morning, but a lot of work and effort. We do really appreciate it. Well, we always look forward to this program so we can find out what's going on in Canfield City, Township, and schools. And today we're also going to learn more about what's going on right here at the Mahoning County Career and Technical Center and enjoy a couple of student presentations as well. We'll hear more about a new facility to be built at the Canfield Fairgrounds and then introduce you to the Regional Chamber's new COO, soon to be President and CEO. We, of course, would not be able to hold programs like this one without the help of our friends, and we are grateful that our longtime sponsor, which calls Canfield home, continually steps up for this program, this community, and the Regional Chamber. Please welcome from Farmers National Bank, Mr. Mark Whitmer, Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Banking Officer.
Thank you very much, Kim. I'm sure you've all noticed I'm got my Indians tie this morning. We've got one down and 10 to go. 10 more and we'll be the world champions. So I'd like to welcome everyone here and thank everyone for coming. Again, thanks to the Career Center here for hosting us all. Just wanted to say a few words about Farmers Bank here today, and it's been a fantastic year again at Farmers. Just in the past year, Carl, our CFO, was mentioning the other day that our stock price has increased by 45% in the past year, and we've increased our dividend by 40%. So any of you here that might be shareholders, that's good news for everyone. What we're able to do then, by being profitable and growing, talking about growing, recently we did purchase another bank called Monitor Bank, and we brought them into the fold and again increased our asset size. So as we grow, one of the things we appreciate is being able to give back to the community. And I'm very excited this morning to have the guys from the Canfield Fair here today, and excited to hear about the plans there. And Farmers is proud to be able to contribute to that project. So we hope other people do the same, but we really are excited about that project. When we talk about growing and adding, I do want to introduce also recently we hired a new person, brought a new person onto the team as Chief Wealth Management Officer, and he's one of your very own Chamber board members, Mark Wennick. So just welcome Mark here. We're very excited to have Mark leading our entire wealth management group, investments, trust, insurance, just the entire group, and that's a big part of Farmers. So again, I want to welcome you all and thank you all for coming, and we're proud to be able to be a part of this event.
Mark, thank you, and to Farmers National Bank again for joining us this morning and so generously supporting our Good Morning and Good Evening Canfield programs this year and every year. And I have to say, I love the bags that you left at our seats this morning. Awesome. I know everyone uses those, so we really appreciate that. I would also like to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude to the Canfield Area Council of the Chamber, for without this group, our Canfield programs would not be what they've become over the years. And when I tell you that this group is entrenched in the Canfield community, I'm not exaggerating in the least. Our council comprises city, township, and school leaders, as well as those who live and work in Canfield. Their passion for all things Canfield is astounding, and because of this group, Canfield is the only community in which we hold 2 Good Morning or Evening programs each year, and also present 2 awards to deserving businesses and individuals at our spring event. And it's because of this council that our Canfield programs are often unique, creative, and fun, and yes, even get us into trouble at least once a year. But I wouldn't have any other way. So I would like to take a moment to ask the members of the Canfield Area Council to please stand. Please stand. And can you please give them a round of applause? We very much appreciate appreciate their dedication to our organization and for the time and effort they put into events like this one. And if you work or live in Canfield or are a chamber member and want to be plugged into this group, please talk to one of the members or call our office for more information, because we'd love to welcome you and have you on board. Well, before we jump into our updates this morning, I would be remiss if I didn't mention a few of the Chamber's upcoming programs and events, which you can find online at regionalchamber.com. On October 12th, be sure to join the Chamber and Trumbull Country Club for a free after-hours networking event at the club. On October 18th, the Laws of Leadership 15 Laws of Personal Growth series will continue at 7:30 a.m. at Seven Arrows and Niles. The Public Utilities Commission of Ohio Vice Chair Beth Trumbull will be in town for a luncheon event at the Maronite Center on October 19th. And on November 18th, we will celebrate the Chamber's longtime leader, Tom Humphreys, as he prepares to retire with a special farewell event that will include roast and toast from our guests. And I just want to take a moment to point out you have a small piece of paper on your table. I know we send our members lots of email every week and every month, and of course that is to keep you informed of all the wonderful things that are going on with the Chamber, but we do realize that with inboxes being flooded these days, you don't have time to read everything that we are sending, and probably aren't interested in everything we are sending either. So what we would ask you to do, and we will email this to all of our members as well, is to take a moment and check the things that you do want to continue to receive. You will always receive our newsletters because that does keep you informed of everything that we're doing a couple times a month. But feel free to check other things that you'd like to receive, and we'll make sure that we're only sending you those things that you're interested in, so we stop flooding your mailboxes every week. Well, we appreciate that the MCCTC is hosting us here this morning, and we thought we would kick off this portion of our program with a welcome and update from its superintendent, who will then introduce a couple of special student presentations as well. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ron Iarussi.
Thank you, Kim. Good morning, everyone. We are very excited to be able to host Good Morning Canfield today here at the Career Center, and more specifically in the bistro. I just asked Chef Matt if you can wave to everybody. Chef Matt Poutier is the teacher in charge of our culinary program.
Good morning.
And we have school today too, so that's why we have morning announcements. You may have to stand for the pledge in a minute, I'm not sure. The main attraction today is some of our STEM students are going to come up and give you a demonstration on what they're doing in STEM and how they incorporate some 3D printing into their academic program here. I do need to introduce a few people first before I get started. I want to introduce one of our longtime board members, Kathy McNabb Welsh is here today. She is a board member of both the Educational Service Center and the Career Center. Assistant Superintendent over at the ESC, Doug Hiscox. Many of you know Doug as the former superintendent at Canfield Local Schools as well. John Zettenbauer is our Assistant Superintendent here at the Career Center. Jane Hogan is one of our principals. Matt Campbell's a principal, and back there is Mara Banfield, who is the director of our STEM program and also a principal here. Many of you know Julie Bursick. Julie, you can wave to folks. She is the in charge of our public relations and marketing department. Many of you know Julie from her days as an anchor or reporter at KBN, YTV, one of those. 2733. I just want to give you a couple updates. First of all, I serve as the superintendent of both the Educational Service Center and the Career Center. As I said, Kathy McNabb Welsh is a board member. We have a unique situation in this area. The board of the ESC, for the most part, also serves as the board of the Career Center. So a few years back, we had the opportunity to take a look at some shared resources. So both the treasurer and myself serve both entities, and all of that is done in an effort to save taxpayer dollars to share some services. And this, over the past 4 years now, this is my 4th year as the superintendent of the Career Center. I'll say this secretively, the Career Center is one of the best parts of my job because I have some direct relation with the students again. Today is a really important day here at the Career Center. I don't know if you knew this, but today is National Manufacturing Day. And so we have quite an event going on here. We have over 800 students from around the area that will be here today to learn about manufacturing. We have some Manufacturers Coalition members here. They're probably, thank you. The Manufacturers Coalition in the area has been a big partner with us in this event. It's called Cutting Edge Manufacturing. We have, again, 800 students that will be here, underclassmen. to learn about manufacturing. They'll get some experiences to go into some of the labs and see what manufacturing is all about today. Those of you that are familiar with manufacturing know that manufacturing has changed, obviously, in the area. Many of the positions that are available are very, very highly skilled positions now. And so we've had to adjust accordingly here at the Career Center so that we make sure we train our students and give them every opportunity to be successful. I had an opportunity to mingle a little bit before the event today, and I've had quite a few people come up to me and ask me about our students because there are jobs available here in this area. And so we welcome that opportunity to make that connection with you because we have some outstanding students that are highly trained, highly skilled, and also credentialed. And so they can come to you with an industry credential and prove to you that they've gone through some training, which I'll get into a little bit more as we go along here. I just want to give you an update about the Educational Service Center. I'll talk a little bit about the Career Center, and then I want to hand it over to our students for their STEM presentation. Many of you, if you were here last year, I gave you kind of an update on the Educational Service Center and what some of our responsibilities are. I know I've seen some of you who also belong to Rotary. We were fortunate enough to host a Rotary event over at the Educational Service Center. So I won't belabor that point too much. Just to tell you that what an Educational Service Center does, there are 55 of us across the state of Ohio, and our charge is to provide services to school districts to help them save costs. The main areas of those services that we provide are in preschool, mainly for those students that are disabled, that now are mandated to attend preschool, and our school districts are mandated also to provide those services. So the Educational Service Center has an early childhood program that works with many of our school districts to help them out with that. Special education, all of our students with disabilities, many of those students who are in local school districts, there are services provided to them through the Educational Service Center. We have 20 school districts right now that are aligned with the Educational Service Center. We have almost 30 that we provide services for. So mainly our job is to provide support for our local school districts with children with special needs. And then the other part of our job is to help provide curriculum instruction leadership so that, with all of the changing accountability measures, the local report cards, our folks work really hard with the local school districts to make sure that the standards are being taught the way they need to be taught and that students are learning them, and so that we can help monitor and raise the achievement level here in the Valley so that, our school districts do a great job. The report cards have changed a little bit, and so our folks are working really hard to make sure that schools understand what the expectations are, and I guarantee you that we will meet those expectations just as we have in the past as those report cards change and grow. So that's a little bit about the Educational Service Center. Please feel free to ask any questions or anything either after the event, or we'd be more than happy to show you around a little bit. Again, that building is a year old back there. It was, again, a share. I talked a little bit about this last year. It's a shared service between the Career Center and the Educational Service Center. That building is actually owned by the Career Center, but on their property. So we were able to, again, save dollars by not renting a facility there. In 30 years, that'll be paid off and will be owned by the taxpayers. So we're really excited about that. Just again about the Career Center a little bit. We've had some folks that actually attend. I talked to some people. Can you raise your hand if you attended the Career Center here? I know we had some folks in the back who've done that. Thank you very much. We like to say, and it's no offense, but this isn't your father's Career Center anymore. It's not your father's JVS. A lot of what we do here has changed over the years. We are still in the business of teaching kids some skills that they can take with them when they graduate to give them opportunities. Many of our students, when they graduate here, they have basically three options. They can be employed because, again, they have an industry credential that they can take with them. We hope that if they choose, they can enroll in college and further their education. Many of our programs that we have right now have college credit attached to them. Not only in our programs that we have here, in the 24 programs that we offer, but also our academic courses that are aligned with those programs have college credit that's attached to that as well. So when our students graduate, they have a leg up. They can go to school, they have some college credit behind them already, and they can further their education if they choose to. We work very hard, very closely with the military as well. Many of our students, probably about 15% of them, end up enlisting as well. So enroll, enlist, employ, the 3 E's that we stress to our kids here when they graduate. We have really worked hard over the last couple years to make sure that we are in touch with our community, and more specifically the business community. We have business advisory councils for every one of our programs that are here, because we need to know what the expectations are that are out there in the employment world for our students. And overwhelmingly, every one of our advisory council members, there's a common theme, is our kids need to know soft skills. If you probably agree with that, I would imagine that, you know, today's students need to learn a little bit more about work ethic. They need to learn about the responsibility that comes with having a job. And again, they have to have some experience of what it's like to actually work at a business, factory, etc. And so we've implemented here what we call simulated workplace. So all of our programs now, there's not only skills taught, but we operate them like they are actually in the work environment. All of our shops now that we have foremen that have to actually apply for the positions, they have to interview, they're in charge of certain things, so that they have more of that experience that gives them some soft skills to make them a lot more ready to be able to go out and get a job. The other thing that we're working on, we all know that probably one of the biggest problems and biggest barriers to employment these days is that many of our applicants can't pass a drug test. And so we know that that's really important to us. So we have, in their simulated workplace program, our kids have an opportunity to go through a drug awareness program, and when they're finished, it's voluntary because we can't make it mandatory, but they can take a drug test, and if they pass, they get a credential. So any of you employers out there, if you're interviewing somebody and that's a concern of yours, our kids, we can't guarantee that they're going to pass, but at least they have that experience and they can come in and show you that they're concerned about that. And so that's just another thing that we're trying to do here to prepare our students for employment. I'm probably going over a little bit, so I want to go ahead and introduce some of our STEM students because I think they're ready to go. So guys, you want to come up and introduce yourself and talk a little bit about the STEM program and where we're headed with this today.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the MCCTC Bistro. My name is Robbie Verdici, and these are my colleagues, Brandon Klaus and Jacob Spanier. Today we are going to be talking about the STEM program and how we implement 3D design and 3D printing into our education. And with that, I would like to hand it over to Brandon Klaus to explain the design process of our thumb flywheel on top of the print.
I'm Brandon Klaus, and I'm going to be talking about the design process and how it implements into what we did here at the powered flywheel. So we first had to find a design that we wanted to make, which is right here. And from there we researched on like the size we wanted it, how we wanted it to look, if we wanted to change it up at all, because we could have made it a little bit more custom, but we didn't. So first we had to brainstorm, which we did. We had to decide whether we wanted to make it bigger, smaller than smaller, make it different colors, which we colored, we colored it right here. So from there we tested our design, and when we had the issues, we had to improve our design.
They learn all of their academics, but it's all done under kind of the concept of advanced manufacturing. We have partners from Youngstown State University's advanced manufacturing program. They come down and work with our instructors. Mr. Van Orman is one of those instructors that helps with 3D printing. But mainly the basis and the foundation of the STEM program is advanced manufacturing and engineering. Another part of what we're doing today, I'm introduce Dr. Hassler. We have actually a drone program now here at the Career Center, and we've done some work for the city of Canfield and also for the chamber, and so we're going to go ahead and introduce that and introduce him, Dr. Hassler.
Yeah, it was an idea to start flying drones around, and then don't have to ask me twice about that. I'll be happy to take that on. We're doing some special events about drone safety and awareness as well. And part of that includes getting the students engaged in drone flying, because drone flying can be for sport or just enjoyment, but an important part of what they can do is take video and photographs. They're very good at doing that. The drone that we got for the school is a pretty high-end amateur platform for doing still photographs and video. It can shoot cinematic 4K video and 20 megapixel still images. The great thing about it is it gives you this fully three-dimensional environment to be creative about what you can shoot, and if you get real good at video processing, you can add audio tracks to what you do. So we went ahead and we shot some scenes from landmarks around the city of Canfield. Some of the scenes that you're going to see here, the footage was shot and used during a town hall event we had a while back, and we've shot some fresh footage, and it's all been integrated together. Come out and introduce yourself for us, please. This is the gentleman that has done it. Let's see if the mic's working. It's not at this point, but hold it anyway.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brandon Kalamaki. I am a senior in the Creative Arts and Design Lab, and I'm a little embarrassed because I feel a little underdressed. But it makes me look more like a student, I guess. But like Dr. Hassler said, recently we've been incorporating his knowledge and his ability into our program. He's been teaching us a little bit about photography using the drone and video shooting using the drone. And I've put together a little bit of a video to showcase what we do in our lab, Creative Arts and Design. We focus a lot on actual, 3D design and logo design and things similar to that. We also delve a little bit into video editing and film production, and so that's what I'd like to showcase for all of you now. Like I said, it's going to take a long time, but I'm really happy that I was able to sort of showcase a little bit of what I do in Creative Arts and Design. This is what I would like to get into. I would love to film it. So Dr. Hassler approached me about this. I was like, heck yeah, of course, this would be a great opportunity. So I just want to thank you all again for allowing me to have this time and explain it to you all. Thank you.
Again, as you can see, these are high school students that are able to produce products like this, and he's going to get a job real soon when he graduates from here, because if he can take this video out and show folks, I'm sure that he will have no problem whatsoever. Just on a last note, for any of you here that might have a project or something that you think that we can help you with, that's part of our community outreach program. We do customer service here at the Career Center. We can produce videos for you. We can work on your fleet if you need to. We can weld something together for you. Whatever you might have a need for, please give us a call. We'd be more than happy to introduce you to our students and our programs and make them available. We're always looking for projects. Hope you had a great day today. Enjoyed the breakfast. I know we went over a little bit long, Kim, I apologize for that. But again, we're glad to have you here today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iarusi, Dr. Hassler, and all of the students. Certainly it was interesting to see Canfield in a whole new light, seeing it from overhead. And the 3D printing was awesome, and you guys look awesome today. So to be commended for, especially for showing up so early, for getting up at 4 a.m. I know that is rough, especially on a Friday. So again, can we give them a round of applause for all the work? Thanks again. Well, it was only maybe a little over a month ago that most, if probably not all of us, enjoyed what was, I believe, the 171st Canfield Fair. And we're excited to hear more about a new year-round multi-purpose exposition facility that will be built on the grounds. Please welcome to tell us more, Canfield Fair Board member George Roman.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to the Chamber and Kim and to farmers and Mark for the kind remarks from you earlier. Back on the Fair Board, we've had a long-range planning committee in place for quite a number of years now. And if you're not familiar, but the state of Ohio is noted for its agricultural industry. And our fair's name is Mahoning County Agricultural Society. That's our official name. You know it as our Canfield Fair. Well, over the last number of years, a pleasant surprise developed for us. Our 4-H program was growing and growing and growing to the point where this year we ran totally out of space for any of our kids to be on the fairgrounds. And that's when we really started 2 years ago to develop this program to build a new state-of-the-art facility for the kids and also for Mahoning County. The economic impact for this building is just unbelievable at this point. We just have to get it going. And that's why we are here today to, if you haven't heard about it, we're going to have a brief presentation. But Mr. Dave Dickey was supposed to be here today. But as you all know, being in business, sometimes it requires your immediate attention. And that's what happened today. And Dave asked me to be here. And he expresses his apologies for that, but he also wants to let you know what we are and where we are with this particular program. But a person I brought with me today that knows in depth of what we've gone into so far today is Mr. Matt Hughes. He's our Canfield Fair Foundation fundraiser. He has a brief presentation on the screen, and we will take questions either after the meeting or immediately following his presentation. Mr. Matt Hughes.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. After the STEM students and the superintendent and a bank officer, I feel so inadequate. I didn't go to law school, didn't go to medical school. I've raised money for the last 30 years. Very boring, and I know most of you hate to see me coming, but it's part of the process. One of the things I want to tell you, 75 years ago at the Canfield Fair, there was an acrobatic plane there, and you could take it up for a $10 ride. For $10 you could take a ride. So one day Stumpy and Martha came in, and Stumpy said to Martha, he said, "Some year I'm going to ride in that there airplane." She said, "Stumpy, that airplane ride costs $10, and $10 is $10. This goes on, and finally they come one year and Stumpy says, "You know, Martha, this is the year. I'm 71 years old. I got to do it." She said, "Stumpy, that there airplane ride costs $10, and $10 is $10. Pilot leaned over. He said, "Hey, I heard you guys bickering about this. I've never had anybody not make a noise when I take them up in this acrobatic plane. I'll take the two of you up, and if you don't make a noise, your airplane ride's free." That's all Stumpy needed to hear. They're up, they're riding. Guys doing barrel rolls and everything else, not a peep out of the back. He repeats everything, nothing. He lands and he turns to Stumpy and said, "You know what, all these years, you guys are the first couple that's never made a noise." Stumpy said, "You know what? I thought about saying something when Martha fell out, but you know, $10 is $10. Anyway, I've lived in Cincinnati for 41 years. The last 5 or 6 years, I've worked for a number of different fairs across the state. If you didn't know, this is the largest, most successful fair in the state of Ohio, and it's the 3rd largest fair in the country. $4 million annual operating budget. And one of the biggest things I faced when I came here, everybody says, "Hey, everybody can do the math, Matt. It's it's 6 days long, 300,000 people times $6 or $7, plus the ride, plus the food. They've got to have gold bars stacked up out there at the fair. Well, they don't have gold bars. They're very successful. They've got money in the bank. They've got money in a great local bank that we've had a relationship with for 120 years, and we're thrilled about that. So one of the things I want to talk to you before I get to the slideshow, traditions. Farmers has been in the Fairs Bank for 120 years, and we're grateful. And we love it when they're successful because they do give back. They partner with a lot of people. I've waited to see almost every Mark at the bank, Mark Whitmer, Mark Graham, and every time I'm there, there's somebody else waiting to visit with them to talk to them about a gift, and they continue to give, and we're very grateful. Traditions. On one of my first calls, a couple had me in their home. I'm from Cincinnati. They don't know me from Adam. Lauren and Joyce Brooks. And we get into this conversation, the sweetest woman I've ever met in my life, and she tells me that she's been going to the fair 77 years in a row. How about that for loyalty? Joyce, are you still here? Fantastic, thank you. So if we can get into the slide, I know we're a little behind. I'll pick up the pace. I'll stop the corny jokes. Oh. Go to the right. Good. This 81,000 square foot multi-purpose building is really a pre-engineered Butler steel building. It's $18 to $20 a square foot delivered and erected. That doesn't count plumbing, concrete, electrical, all the other accoutrements that you need to have a functioning 81,000 square foot building. All the kids and all the animals will fit into this building. And it is that explosive growth that George talked about is the reason the board decided to pursue this. So I thought I'd tell you, here's where we were, here's where we are, and here's, with your help and the community's help, is where we can go. Maybe. Fundraising 101, this comes to me like drones come over here, or 3D printers come to somebody else. This is my only specialty. I'm not going to read to you, but these are easy things to do. If you have a good 501c3 and you have some passionate people, the other thing I can't be George Roman. I can't be the leadership. There are 17 fair board members that make very, very smart, responsible decisions every year. This year's entertainment, by the way, George is always in charge of entertainment, so he takes the heat when it's good, takes the heat when it's bad. John Mellencamp sold 7,800 seats this year, and it was a late entry, so that they're doing wonderful things at the fairs, if you can't tell. Basic ingredients to pursue success, determine what needs to be done. The fair has their own 501c3 foundation. We did a leadership assessment, where it's where I met a lot of the local leading companies. If you're going to use somebody else's money to build your project, you better find out how they feel about it before you announce you're going to use somebody else's money. So back in February, January, February, we made 35 or 40 calls just to get kind of the spirit of what was going on in the community. It's a very competitive community, raising lots and lots of money. We wrote the report, the board approved it. We found a local architect, Dave Harris, great guy. We're in the bid process right now. There are bids out to find out how much money is going to come back. Check with the industry experts. Put a timeline together that details the process. Again, 81,000 square feet. In those calls, we found out from the community, make it big enough to handle all the junior fair kids. Find out what the community needs. Survey, soil borings. There's 355 acres at the fairgrounds, and over the course of a year, there are more than 1,000,001, 1,000,002 people on the ground at the fairgrounds. This year we had 288, 290,000 people at the fair. So think about that. The balance of the year, the world's largest dog show, trade shows, events, we want to grow that. Private dollars so far, it doesn't mean we would not accept public sector dollars, but we haven't had the opportunity to approach anybody about public sector dollars. Private status, because we don't have a lot of government money, we don't have a lot of some of the hoops that you normally have to jump through to get this building built. 172nd year, these are fun facts. Again, I hate to read to you, everybody here went to school. We're about $2.4 million right now. We're more than halfway towards the $4.5 million goal. We've just talked to somebody last week about I'm worth so much more dead than I am alive, it's not even funny. Deferred giving options. There are people here that are so passionate about the fair. They're on a fixed income, and yet we're talking to people about things that they might do out of their estates. This is like a co-chair. I'm going to make every one of you guys a co-chair. Be familiar with the goals and objective of the project. We've talked to people that are fair mavens that didn't know about the fair. I'm going to talk here in a minute about the economic impact. 172nd Fair, and I always ask people, please consider a gift commensurate with your interest and your capacity. Different people have different levels of money, but just because somebody has money, it's the best lesson I ever got in the last 30 years. Just because somebody has money doesn't mean they're going to give the money to the fair. You know, we do these rating and screening sessions. Oh my gosh, you know, George Roman's putting copper gutters on his house. We got to go talk to George. Well, did anybody talk to George and find out whether he was interested in the fair? Just because he's got money doesn't mean it's the fair's. And I've learned a hard lesson over the years. More of the facts about the fair. There's a 150-seat classroom in this new building. There's a permanent 4-H office in this building. Loading docks, garage doors. We met with Ed Moransky for almost 3 hours. He peppered us. He said, hey, why don't you guys be smart about this? Rather than building it and hoping they'll come, why don't you find out what the community wants, build it, and you know that they'll come. That's why Ed's Ed and Matt's Matt. The state of Ohio says 15 square feet per person. So the inside of this building, the clear span spot of this building right here in the inside, not the wings, is 45,000 square feet. That means you could seat 3,000 people for a meal or an event. There are 3 other adjacent buildings to be built, 2 6,000 square foot horse barns and a covered riding arena. Co-chairs. It's one of the things that I've learned over my life. Leadership. I'm an absolute nobody in life, right? So what do? I find 4 somebodies here. Joe Dickey, God love Dave Dickey's dad, he's 88 years old, he's a co-chair. George Roman, David Myers, and Don Snyder. I don't know, New Springfield, Ohio, antique cars. Wonderful leaders, everybody identifies with them. They wouldn't identify with me, but they would identify with those 4 folks. We have 3 different, we have a list of naming opportunities that goes beyond this, but we're grateful to have 3 of these reserved. In my industry, anytime somebody gives half of the money for a specific item, the cost of the item, say, is $200,000, that item can be named in perpetuity for $100,000. Oh, and by the way, it's here, the 4-H office was named by none other than your local bank for 121 years, Farmers National Bank. Thank you. Economic impact. You know, these are a lot of times are wild guesses. We have been deluged with requests from the equine industry. This building is being built because we're running out of space for the kids. But once we meet the kids' needs for the 6 days of the fair, there's 51 weeks left in the year. Horse shows. There's a horse show in Springfield, Ohio that wants to sign a 10-year contract. The economic impact of their 3-day show in Springfield, Ohio is $5.2 million on the area. I think everybody in Canfield would love to have an extra $5.2 million spent in their community. So again, I'm not going to read to you, but this is the potential economic impact from this 181,000 square foot building. That may be it. Oh. Buildings heated. I've met with several different implement dealers who in February try and get farmers to come online, to do things online, you know, walk through a model or walk through a presentation. I've been told the farmers are about as competent with this stuff, computers and whatnot, as I am. They want to come and see it. So the garage doors are all big enough where we can get combines in this building. So in the dead of winter, in February, you can come out and it'll be 75 degrees in a building and you can do lots of different things in the dead of winter. Classic win-win-win. I think those, anytime, you know, win-win's good enough, but a triple win's even better. Questions, comments, amplifications, concerns? Canfield Fair is grateful for the community support so far. We're at $2.4 million. Pledges are acceptable over a 5-year period. We're talking to people now about, as I said, estate gifts, gifts of security, gifts of land. I know a lot of nonprofits thrive when you donate your car. So if you have a giving schedule in your personal budget, and I haven't met you, I'd love to meet you, look forward to it. So thanks for your time today. George, do you have anything else? Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you at the 172nd Canfield Fair.
Matt and George for a lot of great information this morning on this facility, and I'm sure upon completion we'll be having one of these events there as well to check it out. Next, we'll move right into our Canfield City, Township, and Schools updates, and we'll start with the city's mayor, Mr. Bernie Kosar.
Canfield's a great place to be. With the school, the city of Canfield knows the training center very well. The city of Canfield knows this school in two very, very good events. The drone, the video that we used at our town hall meeting, Councilman LaCicero and I were instrumental in approaching the school, and they just cooperated like you can't believe. And their price was right, nothing. We had another situation at Greasel Park. We had a pavilion that was going to fall apart, and these young students came down, engineered the job, fabricated the materials, excuse me, fabricated the materials, brought in a welding unit, and probably saved the city $15,000. I mean, this is a diamond in our community. I don't want to go on too long. I'll get to the state of the city. The rehabilitation of Route 46 from Dartmouth out to the Turnpike. That's a $1.5 million project, 100% funded by grants, 100%. That's a pretty good deal. We're now waiting for approval of another grant to put the lighting in from Dartmouth all the way up to the Turnpike. We are hoping that that gets approved. We are in the process of our paving program. For those of you in the city, we're going to pave Court Street, Maple Street, High Street, Newton Street, Brook Park, Finley, and Garwood. Pretty extensive paving program. In my previous 3 years where I addressed you here, I always make the comment that in order to look like the rest of the county, every year we dig a pothole in one of our roads just to have it. We're also in the process of working up the engineering for a water line replacement on North Hillside Drive and stormwater improvements along Finley Avenue. Windsor House is coming into being, they're probably staffing it now, and it will be up and running in the fall. We are very, very fortunate in Canfield to have operated within our budgets. We do not have a deficit. We've restored several of the programs that weren't here. Concerts on the Green is an example. This doesn't cost the city a penny. Local businesses, Farmers National Bank specifically, Home Savings and Loan have stepped up, along with many, many individuals, and we have Concerts on the Green at no cost to the city. We have restored the leaf pickup program. There was a time in my tenure here as the mayor, I thought I was going to be tarred and feathered for suggesting that that would be a cost reduction. That was a big mistake. All in all, the city's doing well. I think I've talked long enough. I know I have places to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Kosar. We appreciate the update this morning, all that you and the city do. I'd next like to call on for a Canfield Township update, Trustee Joe Pulaski.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Joe Pulaski, Canfield Township Trustee. Basically, for my job, I teach kids nutrition from as young as 3 years old to as old as 93 years old. So if I can entertain a 4-year-old for 30 minutes, hopefully I can keep your attention for about 5. So I'd like to acknowledge the other trustees of Canfield Township. We have Brian Governor, who's right there, if he wants to wave, there we go. And we also have Marie Izzo Cartwright. So I'd just like to update you guys a little bit on some of the happenings going on in Canfield Township. So we are patrolled by the Mahoning County Sheriff's Department. In the month of June, We only had 8 incidents total. So that's a testament to their ability and their work and the safety of our community. Also tomorrow, I believe there's an open house at the new fire station on Herbert Road, 10 a.m. So if you guys aren't busy tomorrow, stop on by. Now on to my most important update of today is trick-or-treat times. Okay, so if you're in Canfield Township, that's 5:30 to 7:30. On Halloween, I think that's on a Tuesday. Anybody calls me Tuesday? So 5:30 to 7:30. Also like to say, every 6 years the Mahoning County Auditor updates property values around the county. Canfield Township's residential property values increased by 9.1%, from a current value of $738.4 million to $805.4 million. Also, our agricultural property increased by 7.1% as well. These are the highest increases in the property values in Mahoning County. Recently, we completed a project on Star Center Old Tippecanoe Phase 1 in conjunction with Mahoning County Engineers Office for $572,000 with a grant from the Ohio Public Works Department. It helped relieve traffic issues along with the creation of left turn lanes in the area. We repaved the road and replaced old pipes and catch basins. We're hoping to get funding for the Star Center Phase 2 project for further improvements in the area. We're working with the ABC Water and Stormwater District to correct a drainage ditch project through the Ohio Turnpike Mitigation Programs, the first project done by the ABC Water District, and that stands for Austintown, Boardman, and Canfield. Represents about 80,000 residents in Mahoning County. Our 2017 paving project just finished, cost us $66,000. We paved Pin Oak Lane, Orlando Drive, and Williamsburg Drive. We were also awarded a street sign grant through ODOT for $4,000 to help enhance our signs' reflectivity and visibility. We held 2 drives at the Canfield Fair. One was an appliance drive on June 3rd. We collected 11,520 pounds of appliances with the help of the undefeated Canfield High School football team. We donated $500 to the Canfield Gridiron Club for their efforts. There's also an electronics drive held on September 23rd, collected 11,440 pounds of TVs, and a total of 21,160 pounds of electronics were kept out of landfills with the help of the Canfield High School wrestling team. They also received a $500 donation from the township. This was in conjunction with the Mahoning County Green Team. There are 18 new homes constructed in the township with a valuation of $4.3 million. A new 5-tenant business plaza was built at Ironwood Commons, and Coca's Pizza began constructing a new restaurant at the corner of 46 and Shields Road. Walnut Grove started installing walking trails around their campus. Also, there's a call for volunteers on October 13th and 14th to help assemble their accessible playground. So if you want, you can check it out on Facebook if you want to volunteer. Looking for a lot of volunteers. The township purchased a new plow truck for the Public Works Department at a cost of $132,000. And like the mayor said, Windsor House is opening pretty soon. You can actually set up a tour if you want to view the facility. And last but not least, hopefully you guys noticed there's construction of a new water tower on Raccoon and 224. It's being constructed in partnership with Canfield Township, Mahoning County, and Aqua, Ohio. It will be a 500,000 gallon elevated tank. It should be in service by fall 2018. Also, Aqua, Ohio is extending water transmission lines down Luffingwell Road, and eventually down to Raccoon Road to connect to the water tower. Just one future project we're hoping for is to connect the bike trail, the Mill Creek Bike Trail, to Canfield Township Park. So that is all I have for you guys today. Hopefully it was short and sweet. I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joe. I know that was your first update at one of our Good Mornings, and a lot of good information in a short amount of time, so we appreciate all of that. Well, finally, the last of our Canfield updates comes from our school superintendent. One of these days, I promise I will put you first on the agenda rather than last. But we're glad to call on Mr. Alex Jordan for a look at what's going on in the district.
Thank you very much. First off, Matt, I want to mention I appreciate your joke this morning. You made me feel very comfortable because I won't be the first person to offend anybody today. So all the males didn't want to laugh, and all the females were looking at you with a great view. So first off, I want to thank Farmers National Bank, Farmers Bank, wonderful. This is always a great event, along with the Chamber, very well organized. Dr. Irusi opening the doors and having a great function for us, and especially the kids. I'd like to introduce our Board of Education members that are with us today, along with our central office staff. Our Board President, Phil Bova, our Vice President, Dave Wilkinson, Craig Olson, and Barry Tanser, and then Patty Prince, along with John Tullio from the central office. It's very easy to come to work when you're working with people like this. These are great individuals who look forward to coming and working for kids, for youngsters. And just so you know, if you have youngsters in our school system, if you are alumni, your system's in great hands with board and central office that we have. Very fortunate to come to work every day. I'd like to go over a few items with you, and I was just saying back there, pointed towards the computer. Okay, I'll go over mission statements and different things like that, but again, items that I'm going to go over today are on our website. I try to force people to our website. Great information, it's robust, and it's a great way for you to interact and understand what's going on with either your alma mater or your Canfield schools. So mission statements and vision statements, along with core beliefs, are definitely items that we have gone over, and community-run committees that came together and put forth all of these vision statements and mission statements. So again, want to thank those folks that come together and go in the right direction for our community and for our school system. And I won't read these to you, but core beliefs. If you don't have core beliefs in a school system or in a institution or whatever you're working with, if you don't have a direction where you're going, you're a ship without a rudder. And we continue to go back to these core beliefs when we are making decisions for our youngsters for the future. Future planning, not only current, but where we want to be several years from now. We have new district goals. Again, I'm going to direct you towards the website. I won't read these to you, but these goals will again give us a direction. One of the goals I want to highlight for you, and we've had several conversations about this in the school system and at the board level, is how we want to get involved and how we would like to educate our youngsters and our youth and our community about drug and alcohol awareness and the effects of that usage. One of our goals is to get a committee together and really have a true plan on how we want to direct this with our youngsters. It's very important. It's not only with our youngsters, but with our families, how we're going to get our families involved in the educational process and not lose sight the importance of family and how they interact with their youth every day and how that conversation is developed. So by the end of the year, the goal is to have a direction on how the school system is going to direct this and get involved with our youth. Some of the upgrades you'll see on here you've seen before, but I definitely want to highlight a few for you. AP offerings. 4 years ago, we had 4 AP classes in our high school offered to our youngsters. We now have 14. So a direction is not only at the upper end, but it's also with average and special needs youngsters, and we will direct that, and I'll highlight a couple for you. Another one is a new history program, a new history and social studies textbook series, online opportunities. So years ago, we started with English language arts, we went with math, we now with social studies and history. We looked at our history books and what we were trying to work with our staff. They were 20 years old, folks. So we're starting to systematically each year try to develop and try to make sure we dissect these items very carefully. One other philosophy I want to highlight for you that's up here is an academic coach. And no, it's not somebody going in talking about X's and O's and where youngsters are going to go on a playing surface. It is constructive, I don't want to say criticism, but a fellow staff member, a teacher going in who's an expert in their field, going in working with staff and coaching them and working with them on instruction, best practices, how we evaluate youngsters. We now have a literacy coach working with English language arts. We now have a math coach working with mathematics. And now we actually have a behavior coach working with those non-traditional students they need a little bit of extra help. Our staff sometimes looks at it and goes, a classroom of 26 students, and they might need a little bit of assistance to make sure that we're able to accommodate each of the needs of each of those youngsters. They might have IEPs, they might not. It might be a new enrollee. Just some suggestions for that staff member. It's not a principal coming into the room evaluating that staff. It's a fellow teacher coming in, just talking about best practice and how to working with youngsters' needs. That's a very different philosophy for Canfield, and we're going and we're continuing to move with that coaching philosophy. Alternative options at the high school is always something for non-traditional students, so we've ramped up those offerings for non-traditional students at the high school. It's, again, those youngsters need a little bit of extra drive and need a little extra support in a non-traditional school setting. ACT prep classes, not only during the school day, but online. That's new for us this year, and we're very excited about having that opportunity for our youth. One other I'd like to highlight for you is for the staff end. We're pushing Google Classroom and Google training for our staff members. This is to certify staff in Google and to be able to go out and outreach and see different opportunities to work with their students in their classroom and outside of brick and mortar. They don't have to be sitting in the classroom working with youngsters. It could be outside of the school day. And having that certification is going to be very helpful. Co-curricular, I just want to highlight one item for you, lacrosse. We did bring that on as a club sport this past year, and that is probably one of the largest growing sports that's in the state of Ohio today. This is an option for our youngsters. Again, it's not funded through the school system, it's a club-funded sport, so our support organization is fully funding this. Very happy about that, and participation is the key. Our youth being able to participate. Safety and security, again, a lot of the similar items that we've gone through, and we're just trying to ramp up and increase some of that, again, on a daily basis. Maybe. There we go, transportation. One item I'd like to highlight for you, can't believe it, but when you start calculating the enhancements and investments we've made over 4 years of transportation, 19 new school buses. $92,000 bus, folks. 19 of them, one handicap accessible. What's great about this is the majority of this money is coming out of our PI fund, which is permanent improvement dollars that we're able to salvage our general fund that way. So again, that's part of the safety and security. We have a fleet of about 36 buses, 19 of them over 4 years. Unbelievable investment, and that's the commitment by the board and the entire community. We thank you for that. Technology. We can probably talk about this for an hour, but I surely won't. One item I want to talk about, we noticed in our main server room at the high school, enormous temperatures. When you talk about technology, as you know, temperatures raise because you need some sort of cool space. In our main server room, temperatures were going over 100 degrees. And we figured out that's probably not a wise thing to have happen. If we lose our main server, we're in trouble. So we made a large commitment this past year to climate control that room, and that's going to save our technology as we move forward. Community engagement is a large piece that we wanted to focus on this past year and in previous years, and I'd like to highlight a couple things for you. One of the items is an all-call system that we brought in 5 years ago. But with that, instead of just all calls, people love texting, as you know. I'm looking around the room now, and I probably see about 10 of you doing it. So you have to make sure that you communicate the way people want to be communicated with. Not everybody wants to pick up a phone at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and hear that the cookie dough is going to be delivered. Okay? So now we have a system we just purchased and invested in this year that we're going to have this started for our parents here in the next 2 weeks. So a way to communicate, not just via phone messages. Weekly updates. As you can tell, I like to talk. But with weekly updates, on our website now, each week we're putting a video on 5 to 7 minutes long just to update our community on what's happening in the school. So I'd like to recommend to you, we do archive those because, again, we love to hear ourselves talk. So we make sure that we want to communicate with our public. That's another way to communicate what's happening in your schools and around the state of Ohio. I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I'm going to say it anyways. You see on here a Yum Yum app for the cafeteria. All right, the Yum Yum app that's available for our parents. You laugh, and I do too. But we have a lot of allergies and a lot of diabetic youngsters these days. With this app, a parent, even a student, can go on the app, on their phone, on their device at home, and see what's going to be served in that school, their own child's school for that day and for the week and for the month. So then they can design any type of lunches for their youngsters for the month. So they know exactly what's going to be in the meals. Not that they're having pizza or chicken nuggets, but what's the calorie intake, what's the sugar, the grams of sugar that's going to be in there. Very important for families, and we as adults should probably take a look at that once in a while as well. Before and after school programs, we have an agreement with a local church that they're coming into our elementary building that's offering before and after school care. Again, free of charge to the district. We have a great understanding with those folks. They're coming in, helping our families every day. Literacy nights, math nights are going to get started here in the next couple weeks. Very important, communicate with our parents and our community. I want to highlight, because some of these folks are in the room today, city and township, along with school leadership, get together quarterly, and we talk about what's happening not only in our school, but also around our community. How can we interact with you to make sure that property values continue to go up by 9.1% every year? Again, we're a big vested interest in that. What does that do? It retains and increases enrollment for our community. We will not be the type of school system to go out and say that our enrollment's dropping by 200-300 a year. We're not going to say that. We're going to say, how can we retain it? What can we do to make the situation better? How can the school system support? How can we talk with community leaders and make the situation better for our families to retain the population? We're not worried about up and down. How do we retain, and what are we offering for our people? Lastly, I want to point out to you, and there is a slide here. I know we have a lot of fiscal folks in the room, and a lot of people, we talk about that box for you guys, okay? And Ms. Prince and I talk about this a lot. Financial folks work in a box. I get it. I have a sister who's a state auditor, works for a state auditor's office, and you don't like a lot of change, and all you want to do is look at where that decimal point is, and what's happening, and how many commas, and where are we spending, and I get it. I love your box. It's great, but I'm glad I'm not in it. But the one thing that I could point out to you is in 2012 and 13, we were working in the red in our school system. Since 14, and we can actually project this over time, we've balanced the budget and we're working in the green. And how does that happen? It's the support of the community. Bottom line, we can't do it without you. We can't have youngsters receiving $8.7 million offered in scholarship money last year for our seniors. Yeah, $8.7 million offered for our seniors, 234 students. So we can't do those type of items without the support from you. So again, we want to keep a great thing going. It's the communication, it's the collaboration, and again, I can't go without saying, we do have a renewal levy on the ballot in November. We would appreciate your support, and I'll leave it at that. Have a great day.
Thank you, Superintendent Jordan, for always presenting such interesting information. And of course, as he said, please visit the website to find out some more. Well, if you could bear with us for a couple more minutes, we want to close out our program today by officially introducing you to the Chamber's COO, soon-to-be President and CEO. James Dignan joined our team in June and will become the Chamber's President and CEO on January 1st. Of course, James has an extensive background in the military, having served for nearly 30 years, and came to town in 2013 as commander of the 910th Airlift Wing at the Youngstown Air Reserve Station. And of course, we're fortunate now that he chose to switch gears and join our organization. So please welcome James Dignan.
Thank you. Good morning, Canfield. Great event, Dr. Irusi. Every time I come here, I'm blown away. Not only with your students and the staff, the facilities, everything. You guys, you're dressed for the chamber, ready to go. Awesome job. Mr. Mayor, you didn't tell a joke, so now I'm going to have to think of one. You usually have a good one for me. Thanks, farmers, sponsoring this event, bringing everyone together. Thanks for trustees coming out. And everyone else, it's an honor and a pleasure to take over for somebody who's been a fixture of this valley for many years. Over 2 decades running the chamber. So I am the new and improved Tom Humphreys, starting off in January. Next month, Kim alluded to it, or talked about it in the opening. We have a farewell to Tom on the 19th, yeah, 18th, sorry. And it'll be a roast and toast, so it'll be a good event, good time to go. Check out our website and you get on there to go do that. And I want to leave you with this. So I have 3 girls at home, so house full of girls, 15, 13, and 7. And my 7-year-old, her responsibility every day when we go get ready, she picks out my ties, and if I have an event like this, she has to tell me a joke. So she gives me a joke. She goes to St. Rose, so you know it's a good joke. But she says, Dad, what happens to a frog's car when it breaks down? Gets towed away. So, thank you all for coming out, and I look forward to meeting with all of you as we move on. And good morning, Canfield.